Hope you guys have all been well and welcome back to the channel. As you guys have seen from the title of today's video, I have a package from Fujifilm which I'm super excited to open and I'm excited to share with you guys. This is something that caught my eye when it first came out. I'm excited to give it a shot. I'm excited to try it out, take it out, and just kind of use it. So why don't we first unbox it and then we'll start talking about it in detail. So we got a bunch of things in here. Let's start off, of course, get this out. It's the camera itself. This is the X100VI, and we have a bunch of different accessories in here that Fuji has sent for me to try out. So why don't we start with the camera first? Of course, that's the main thing. I'm sure everybody's been wanting one, as have I. So let's open her up. Now this is a demo unit, so the packaging may vary. Just wanted to make a note for that. The package over here, you have the little accessories. Got a battery. Looks like there's some USB cable in here, as well as some leather protectors if you use a camera strap. So there is a charging cable in there as well. And of course, you got the camera right here. This is the silver version of it, and my God, it is beautiful. I'll give you guys a closer look at that. It truly is a work of art, and it reminds me a lot of my old film cameras, so this is why I'm kind of excited to try this out. And I feel like this camera will be a great companion to an analog workflow. Just turning it on real quick. Oh, it looks great. Honestly, the specs on this camera are really good. I wrote down a couple notes over here. You know, it comes in two different colors, so if you're not a fan of the silver version, it does come in a all black. So you'll get up to 6 stops of image stabilization when you're using the electronic viewfinder or the rear LCD screen. This also has a hybrid viewfinder, so if you like the range style cameras, if you're coming from a Leica system or any other rangefinder like the Bessas or something, this is going to be super fun and super intuitive to use. Of course, you'll get some overlays on top of your traditional rangefinder in there, and you can swap over instantly using this button right on the front. And if you want to see your exposure in real time using that electronic viewfinder, you can. And of course, it has a 40 megapixel sensor in here, and it comes with the built-in 23mm f2 lens. Absolutely beautiful. The fact that it's an f2 is wonderful, and it has a built-in ND filter, which you can map to one of these many function buttons, so you can disable or enable them as you see fit. So if you want to shoot at f2 in bright sunlight, this camera does stop all the way down to 125 ISO. So that combined with the ND filter, you'll be able to shoot wide open and have some nice creamy bokeh, which, you know, on a camera like this size is going to be pretty incredible to create nice, unique images. Of course, they come preloaded with 20 film simulations. So if you're a fan of Fuji film, their analog media, these film simulations are going to be fun for you to use. And of course, you can hop in there and you can customize to your liking and create your own recipes. They have an intuitive system in there to calibrate, you know, the contrast, the shadows. If you want to tweak your white balance in there per recipe, you can. And that's going to be super fun. They have a built-in electronic grain, which is really cool, and you can kind of set that from like a strong to medium to none. If you want to add it in post or you don't want to have any at all, that's an option. It also has a color chroma function, and that'll add a little bit more detail, vibrance, saturation to your images. So if you want to tweak that within your custom recipes, you can. And I think that's the fun in this system, you know, having all these analog buttons on here, from your ISO selector, your shutter speed, and you know, you even have an aperture ring to manually adjust that. This is gonna feel very similar to an analog camera, but with all the modern functionality of a mirrorless This camera also has a subject detect autofocus system, so if you're shooting with wildlife, that'll come in handy. And it also has a new autofocus algorithm to better kind of understand what you're shooting, how you're shooting. So we've talked about the camera. Let's talk about some of the accessories that you can get with your camera if you choose to, just to give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what other things that are available. So you can purchase these. It's the adapter ring. This is the AR X100, and this is the protection filter. So let's open these up and see what they look like. So in here you have the adapter ring, and this is gonna give you a 49mm thread. So take off your lens hood, and this front ring over here, if you just give it a little twist, it actually comes off to reveal a external thread. Of course, because it's an external thread, you can attach a filter, hence the adapter ring. And all you're gonna do is screw this on. And now you have a 49mm thread, and you can now attach 49mm filters. So if you want to add, let's say, a little, little UV filter just to protect the front element of your lens, you can. So let's see, this is the Fujifilm Super EBC Fujinon protector, and this is a 49mm filter. And just like that, it just screws on to the front. And now you have a filter on your lens. So if you want to protect it, that is an option. And of course, you can get creative. You can put any of those Cinebloom filters if you want to have like a black promise filter, or even if you're going to use this for video or even for photos, if you want to add like polarizers or external ND filters, you have the option to do that. So as you know, the X100 series cameras are fixed focal length lenses, but in addition to using the built-in camera's zoom in functionality, which is like an auto crop, you can buy these two. So these are the wide angle and the telephoto lens adapters. So what these essentially do is you're gonna get a 0.8 times magnification wide and a 1.4 times magnification zoom. I'll open this tele lens out so you get a couple manuals, you get a little lens pouch in there. And right in here, you get this. So this right here is a telephoto adapter. Now, just like how we talked about, this external thread corresponds to the threads under this. And how these work are, they're just gonna screw right onto the front of your lens on this lens, or a 50mm on a 35mm full frame camera. And now you have a, let's do a little test shot over here. So just to show you guys the difference with and without the teleconverter, this is what that's gonna look like. There you go. And as you guys can see, now you have a physical teleconverter. So it's not gonna be cropping in your image. These are gonna be optically zooming in and of course zooming out of your images. So if you do wanna have the option of, let's say, having 3 different focal length lenses with this small compact camera, you can have that. I'll show you guys the wide angle as well. This one magnifies at a 0.8 times magnification. So it's gonna give you quite a wider field of view. And if you're shooting indoors, of course, this is gonna be super nice to have. And this is just gonna screw on. And an equivalent of 135, so like 35mm camera, this is gonna give you a 28mm focal length. So we'll do a little test shot over here. There you go. So now you guys can see the difference between all 3 of those. And they're quite drastic differences. So I feel like this 28mm wide angle conversion lens is gonna be super nice to have. And of course, this doesn't make the camera that much bigger. The telephoto is quite large, but this wide angle I think is a very decent size. And it does come with a lens cap over here. And as you guys can see, it is a 49mm filter thread. So you can add filters to these adapters. And of course, it has that external bayonet mount for any other accessories. And I just want to show you guys the final accessory over here. This is the X100VI leather case. So if you guys do want to have a little leather case to add to your camera, or you just want some additional accessories, this is going to be a great option. It does come with a strap as well, but this is just going to slide right in here. And just make sure that these little loops for the strap lugs go around these little leathers, these little leather pieces. Pop that out. And that's kind of gonna just lock that case right onto the camera. We'll do this side, we'll do the same thing. And this will also offer a little bit of protection if you're using a strap so it doesn't scratch the side of your camera. And as you can see, you have full access to the screen on the back, the side buttons over here, as well as you have a little clip to access the battery and the SD card on the bottom. So I'm glad that they've thought of that, because the most annoying thing is having to remove the case that you just put on just to change the battery, or if you forgot to put in an SD card. And of course, it has a cover. So if you do want to cover this up for storage, this just slides on and clips into place. And now your camera is nice and protected. And you can also add a little leather strap that comes with it. These are all the accessories for the X100VI. So I hope you guys were able to see some of the stuff that is available if you were interested in buying one of these cameras. These are all the options for you, and I'm sure there's other accessories that they might release in the near future that I don't have here. So the question is, why the Fujifilm X100VI and why I wanted to try it? Well, I wanted something that reminded me of using an analog camera. I love having the ability to have some tactile switches, and I was looking for something that was very compact. So this kind of checked all those boxes, and of course having that hybrid viewfinder where I can switch to a completely non-EVF viewfinder was super important for me. I'm not a big fan of having electronic viewfinders in general. Of course, the pros outweigh the cons of having an electronic viewfinder, but sometimes having a little bit of disconnect between what I'm seeing and what's being displayed is a little distracting. So having access to switch over from a hybrid viewfinder to a fully electronic viewfinder was key, and this camera offered that. So fast forwarding now, I've been using this camera for about a week and a half. I've taken it out with me to a bunch of different events, from my birthday to a little road trip that I took to visit some friends, and even going to some live music performances, going to Jazz Fest, and just experiencing the world just through this one camera with its fixed focal length lens. And it's been a lot of fun. So having the option to carry something so small and lightweight was great. And I really did enjoy my experience with this. I can definitely see myself buying one of these in the future. This, it does have a built-in flash as well, which is surprisingly powerful, and it has all sorts of other functionality built in. But that being said, that's not something that will drive me towards the camera. If you know me, most of my work is done using my Hasselblad, and it quite literally only has two functions. That is shutter speed and an aperture. And that's really all you need, other than picking your film speed, which, just your ISO is just going to be based on the film stock you have. Those are really the two options that I need in a camera. I don't need any of the menu systems, and I don't really like messing around with all that kind of stuff. I just want to take some pictures, period. I know that's a simpler way of putting things, but I think this camera, if you do set it up once and you kind of pick your film simulation and you're happy with it, I feel like that's going to give you a lot of great results for what this camera is capable with. And of course, having the 40 megapixel sensor, your end results are going to be very impressive, especially if you're going to be transferring these later to your phone, posting them on social media, or even if you're using this for professional work. There's definitely a place for this camera in somebody's kit. Now, I've used this camera as a companion to my Hasselblad over the last 2 weeks, and I've really tried to make it a point to reach for this first. And use this as my daily snapshot camera, capturing images of my friends, my daily life, my coffee, any of the cats that I've seen along the way in my adventures. And that's kind of what I was looking for in a camera. And I feel like this checked all those boxes. If you have any other questions outside of what I've discussed today, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, send me a DM. I'll be more than happy to reply and answer to the best of my abilities. Now, with that being said, I want to move over to the part of the video where I share images. So I hope you guys enjoyed these photographs that I created with the Fuji X100. If you stuck around to the end of this video, I really appreciate it. I appreciate your support. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here and leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on this camera, how you guys enjoyed the images. And again, huge shout out to Fujifilm for sending this over for me to play with. I hope to be working with them in the near future. And until next one, see you soon.